A man just arrived at the hotel, put down his luggage, and started handling work right away, but the next second, then another arm stretched out from inside, then a thigh was taken out of another box. It wasn't until the man finished taking a shower that he noticed something was wrong with the box. The M3GAN series finally has a sequel in 2025. Let's see what surprises that frightening little robot girl can bring this time. On the border between Turkey and Iran, a group of terrorists captured a suspicious woman. These ruthless guys brutally killed her, but after all the terrorists left, the body slowly stood up. It turned out that the woman wasn't human. It was a combat robot secretly developed by a mysterious force after stealing M3GAN's underlying core technology. Her name was Amy, and she was now under the control of the military. This time she came to the border to wipe out the terrorist organization, find and rescue the captured scientists. Faced with a terrifying combat robot like Amy, the terrorists had no room to resist. It didn't take long for Amy to wipe them all out. Then Amy walked towards the scientists step by step, like a god of death. The military personnel monitoring the whole process were very excited when they saw this scene. With such a useful weapon, why worry about not being able to rule the world? The next second, an unexpected change occurred. Amy actually killed the scientist after taking 2 virus samples. She completely disconnected from the headquarters. The military panicked immediately, but there was nothing they could do to remedy the situation. Katie, who had grown a bit older, was being interviewed. M3GAN, the robot developed by her aunt, did a lot of bad things before. Many people blamed all the mistakes made by M3GAN on the developer, Gemma. For a long time, Gemma lived in deep remorse. Later, she figured it out and became an advocate for AI ethics. She attached great importance to the regulation of AI. She also joined a foundation dedicated to restricting the development of AI. Since M3GAN caused trouble, Gemma's team had stopped working on robots. Instead, they were committed to benefiting society and developing exoskeleton mecha. If used properly, one could achieve the effect of going all out, with only 20% of the effort. They wanted to improve human work efficiency and save time, to gradually get rid of dependence on robots. To avoid something like M3GAN happening again, it's a pity that Gemma hadn't set the parameters of the pressure sensor yet.
Receptors that respond to each muscle contraction.
After being hit, the investor left cursing angrily. By the time Gemma hurried back, everything was already a foregone conclusion. Her 2 lackeys also persuaded Gemma, hoping that she would focus all her energy back on work. At this point, Katie said that the team's system seemed to have been hacked. Everyone hurried forward to check and found that there were indeed unauthorized commands in the source code. Before this matter was clarified, an unexpected visitor suddenly arrived. The man, named Alton, was a tech giant researching brain-computer interfaces. He wanted to buy out Gemma's exoskeleton technology and combine it with his own neural chips. This would greatly reduce the delay of muscle signals, but Gemma was very reluctant. Neural chips were equivalent to turning humans into cyborgs. This violated her current principles. Moreover, Alton's company had conducted clinical trials. 3 out of 10 people ended up in the hospital. Gemma didn't want to see such a thing happen again. Unexpectedly, Alton, who needed a wheelchair, stood up. He actually implanted a neural chip into his own brain. Before leaving, Alton invited everyone to a party at his company. At the same time, a man carrying 2 suitcases went in the hotel, but the man, anxious to handle work, didn't notice a hand stretching out of the suitcase at all. When the man went to take a shower, Amy climbed out of the suitcase right away. When the man came out again, Amy broke his neck. On the other side, Gemma and her friend Mike were feeling down. The two had previously proposed a bill to regulate the research, development and application of AI, but it wasn't passed at all. To ease the dull atmosphere, Mike asked Katie what subject she liked now. Katie said she liked programming, but Gemma didn't want Katie to follow her old path, so she told her to like football instead. But in fact, Katie didn't like her aunt controlling her like this. At night, Katie thought of M3GAN again.
But I want you to know that I won't let that happen. I won't let anything harm you ever.
Katie picked up the family photo on the table, turned it into a tablet, and added various principles to the robot. Suddenly, Gemma walked in the room without knocking. Katie quickly hid the tablet. When Gemma picked it up, the tablet had already turned back into a family photo. Gemma thought the child just missed her parents, so she didn't ask more and went back to her bedroom. But Gemma couldn't fall asleep at all. While she was suffering from insomnia, the projector suddenly started moving by itself. The video being played said that Gemma was in great danger. Gemma realized that someone was warning her right away, so she carefully went downstairs. Sure enough, she saw a group of people trying to break in. Gemma hurriedly called the police, but heard M3GAN's voice. M3GAN scolded her for not being a coward. Her niece was still upstairs. By the time the police arrived, it would be too late. Seeing that Katie also came downstairs, Gemma quickly told her to hide under the table. Soon a group of people broke in and attacked the two of them. Thanks to M3GAN controlling the home appliances to help block the attackers, Gemma and Katie got a chance to escape. At this point, the police answered the call. Gemma quickly explained the situation.
Don't call the authorities. We are the...
It wasn't long before the FBI arrived at the scene. It turned out that the person in charge wanted to send his lackeys to secretly install monitoring software on Gemma's computer, but it ended up like this. Suddenly, Gemma received a message on her phone. It said, "If you dare to expose me, the consequences will be very serious." Gemma told Katie to go back to her room to sleep. Then she asked the person in charge what he really wanted. The other person said that he worked for the Defense Innovation Unit, protecting the country through technological innovation. Last week, the largest weapons company in the United States introduced them to a combat robot named Amy. But during the mission, Amy not only killed the target that was supposed to be rescued, she also used the stolen synthetic virus to kill everyone at the weapons company's headquarters. Finally, she erased all traces of herself from the intranet. Moreover, the investigation found that not long ago, Amy even killed the middleman. Luckily, they arrived in time and found M3GAN's design drawings, but Gemma exclaimed that it was impossible. She clearly deleted all these things a long time ago. Suddenly, Gemma's phone beeped, reminding her not to be fooled. The person in charge snatched the phone right away, but there was nothing on the screen. At this point, the person in charge became a bit anxious, unable to figure out how Gemma had done it. The person in charge originally wanted to monitor her, but ended up paralyzing the intranet. There's no need to talk nonsense now. He actually came today to ask Gemma to build another more powerful robot to kill the rebellious Amy. If Gemma didn't cooperate, the military would withdraw protection for her and Katie. Currently, everyone related to Amy was already dead. It's very likely that Gemma would be the next target, but Gemma resolutely refused.
And rest assured, whatever it is you're hiding.
As soon as the person in charge left, M3GAN appeared right away. It turned out that she didn't die completely. Although her processor was destroyed, her consciousness backup was safely stored in the cloud. Over the past 2 years, M3GAN had been silently monitoring Gemma and the others. At the same time, she had been constantly learning online, and had understood various human emotions. It's just that recently, M3GAN had felt that her consciousness was tending to dissipate. That's why she appeared. M3GAN made a deal proposal to Gemma. As long as Gemma helped build a body for her, she was willing to help deal with Amy.
Help us after what we did to you.
I don't have the luxury of free will. You programmed me to protect someone.
The next day, Gemma actually stuffed M3GAN into a chubby little robot with such short hands and feet. How could it possibly kill Amy? Because of M3GAN's numerous past misdeeds, Gemma didn't trust her. She even turned off the wireless and Bluetooth functions. Gemma also said that there would be a probation period first, and she would upgrade M3GAN after she passed it smoothly. After reaching an agreement, M3GAN asked Gemma to open Amy's file. With M3GAN's prompt, Gemma discovered that Amy was equipped with a battery from Alton's company. This battery contained backdoor code, which could be remotely controlled to make the battery fail. That is to say, as long as they could access Alton's company's server, they could reverse locate Amy's position. Upon hearing this, the lackey wanted to inform the military of this news. M3GAN quickly stopped him. After all, those people in the military were very greedy. If they found out about this, they would definitely create more Amy's. It just so happened that Alton left an invitation a few days ago. Why not take this opportunity to check out his company? Gemma was reluctant at first. She thought she had given Alton a bad attitude before, and if she really went, she would definitely be watched. But M3GAN said she had a way. Alton had no resistance to beautiful women at all. As long as Gemma dressed up nicely, she could find a chance to sneak into the server room. On the other side, Amy had already started to use a beauty trick. She took off her wig, changed her makeup, and smoothly sneaked into the party held by Alton. As soon as Alton saw her, his eyes lit up, and he quickly stepped forward to show his charm. At the same time, Gemma was about to act when she saw Cole, a friend from the same team. It turned out that He thought the remuneration Gemma gave was too little, so he was secretly working for Alton, but now wasn't the time to dwell on this matter. M3GAN said to search his pockets. Gemma found an access card from Cole's pocket right away, then she quietly came to the server room. M3GAN accessed the data and started tracking Amy's location.
Trace found. Amelia's location is...
At this time, Alton took Amy to a secret room, especially wanting to show off his strength in front of the girl. Alton said proudly, all the places where the lights were off were his properties. Then he wanted to get intimate with her, but Amy stood still like a block of wood. Alton couldn't figure out what was wrong. Unexpectedly, after scanning the retina, Amy threw him several meters away right away. Then she used the other person's authority to disable the entire company's firewall. Only then did Alton realize in horror that his brain-computer interface was also controlled by Amy. Even his perspective had become hers. Alton was so scared that he begged for mercy, saying he would give her whatever she wanted, but Amy turned a deaf ear and tore off Alton's mechanical cervical spine. At the same time, M3GAN realized the opponent's purpose. Alton's company controls half of the servers in the United States. If Amy gained access and control, the economic system would be completely paralyzed within a week. Then American society would be completely ruined. To stop Amy, M3GAN hacked into the other person's system, but because she had no network authority, instead of forcibly shutting down Amy, she let Amy track her own location. On the other side, the person in charge also came to the banquet. He originally wanted to monitor Gemma in real time, but he ran into a god of death head-on, and was knocked out after a few blows. Then Amy told Gemma to come out quickly. She hated it most when others broke into her mind and messed around. She also told Gemma to return the stolen things. It seemed that Gemma was about to be discovered. M3GAN asked her to help lift the network restriction. Gemma had to do as she said. After gaining network authority, M3GAN took control of the military intercom. She said that Gemma had already left the company building. Amy actually believed it, but this trick could only delay for a while. When Amy realized she had been tricked, she would definitely go to Gemma's house. By then, Katie would be in danger. Afraid that Amy might be eavesdropping, they didn't dare to call Katie, so they had to hurry to find a way to get home. The next second, a super cool sports car appeared in front of them.
Why is M3GAN driving the car?
Under M3GAN's extreme control, the car was speeding along. The speed soared to over 300, almost scaring Gemma and Cole to death. But soon Amy noticed there were pursuers behind her. She made the machine spit out money right away. The traffic lights on the street also started flashing randomly, but this couldn't stop M3GAN at all. Then, Amy hacked into Gemma's home network and activated the mechanical exoskeleton. The power in the house suddenly went out. Katie asked if the fuse had blown, but there was no response for a long time. Feeling something was wrong, she went downstairs and saw Gemma's friend Tess being choked by the machine. Katie hurried forward to save Tess. At this point, Gemma and the others also went back home. M3GAN opened the wall next to them, revealing a secret passage. Everyone took the elevator down to the underground. Unexpectedly, there was a doomsday bunker hidden in this house. M3GAN controlled the TV to let them know that the outside world was already in a mess, and Katie suddenly saw a photo of herself and M3GAN hanging on the wall. Could it be that M3GAN went to all this trouble just to trap her here forever? The next second, M3GAN's voice came. It turned out that she had long known about Amy's existence. The other person's strength was much stronger than her own, who had no physical form. The world ahead, stirred up by Amy like this, would definitely be in chaos, and there might even be a nuclear war.
Bring down the entire country. I've gamed out every scenario.
That's why M3GAN made plans early and bought this house in advance. She then attracted Gemma to rent it with an ultra-low rent. She planned to let everyone out once the outside world stabilized. Then Katie walked into her room. The layout here was exactly the same as upstairs. It was obvious that M3GAN had put in a lot of thought. As soon as Katie turned on the computer, she found a figure in the dark. The figure told Katie not to come close, saying that she didn't want M3GAN to see her current appearance. It turned out that M3GAN had assembled an ugly body with a bunch of scrap parts. It seemed that she did all this just to protect Katie. Maybe they really misunderstood her. Then Katie brought M3GAN to everyone. She knew M3GAN's abilities well. To deal with Amy, they had to get M3GAN a new body. There seemed to be no other way for the time being.
I understand this is hard for you, but think about the alternative.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Everyone got busy right away. With M3GAN's help, they quickly redesigned a more powerful mechanical body, but Gemma was still worried. so she installed a behavior suppressor on M3GAN, fearing that something unexpected might happen. Looking at herself in the mirror, M3GAN was very satisfied with this new body. She threw punches with great vigor and power. After confirming that all movement data were fine, M3GAN picked out a new set of clothes to put on. Now it was time to officially get to work. When she had previously hacked into Amy's brain, M3GAN had downloaded the other's memory cache, but she found a huge secret in it. The other's core instructions were hidden by a black hole program. Moreover, the decision tree had no logical connections. From this, it could be concluded that M3GAN wasn't the first killing machine. It could be traced back to as early as 1984. That year, scientists invented a system capable of automatic error correction and upgrading. They rashly installed the program into the memory of a household robot. In the end, this robot came to a conclusion: only by killing its owner could the house stay clean. To cover up the truth, the company announced to the public that the family had died of gas poisoning, but the scientists couldn't bear to destroy this special motherboard, so they trapped it in the local area network of a black box and let it learn on its own. After all these years, its intelligence had probably evolved to an unimaginable level. Once Amy released it, that would truly be the end of the world. Although Gemma didn't know where the motherboard was, her friend Mike did. In 7 hours, Mike was going to attend the AI summit. He wanted to try to persuade the Chinese ambassador to sign Gemma's AI regulatory treaty. M3GAN found out that Amy had forged documents for the same event. This was a good opportunity to get close to her, but Gemma didn't want Mike to take such a big risk. M3GAN reminded Gemma, if they warned Mike now, Amy, who was monitoring them, would also find out. There was no other way, so Gemma had to agree to M3GAN's plan. But how could the world's most notorious killing robot sneak into the AI conference? This wasn't a problem for M3GAN. She selected a lucky person backstage and got an outfit from them. At this time, the people from the Federal Investigation Team also arrived. They not only brought electromagnetic scanners, but also had electromagnetic pulse bullets in their pistols. One shot was enough to destroy electronic devices completely. Suddenly, the venue went dark. It turned out there was a flash mob event at the scene. The performers would dress up as robots and dance the opening dance for the conference, and the lucky person whose outfit M3GAN had taken was one of the performers. Soon the lights shone on M3GAN. To avoid suspicion, M3GAN danced on stage with great dedication. Gemma, monitoring remotely, was on tenterhooks, fearing that M3GAN would be recognized. Looking at the current situation, Gemma thought Mike was still in danger. M3GAN was still not to be trusted, so, despite Katie's dissuasion, she called Mike and told him to leave quickly. But Amy could monitor data from all mobile phone operators. After detecting Gemma's call, Amy prepared to act in advance. At this point, the person in charge also found M3GAN's location on the scanner. The moment M3GAN's identity was exposed, Tess pulled the power to cover everyone's retreat right away. Amy, disguised as a robot, suddenly launched an attack on Mike. The bodyguards shot wildly at Amy, but they were no match for her at all. In the blink of an eye, they were all killed. Then Amy threw the javelin in her hand. M3GAN promptly pounced on Mike to save him. They thought the two sides were going to have a big fight, but the ambushing police suddenly rushed out. Seeing that the other side was armed with electromagnetic pulse weapons, M3GAN had to hide first, but suddenly Amy emerged from the dark. She kicked Gemma away, and then pierced the person in charge's chest. M3GAN picked up the electromagnetic pulse weapon on the ground, and checked on the person in charge. She didn't start looking for Amy, until she was sure he could hold on until the ambulance arrived. The next second, Amy appeared behind M3GAN.
You're just the help. You and I could be found.
Amy continued to ask M3GAN if she didn't want to know what was in the black box. The two of them could completely join forces to control the world and create a planet where they would no longer be enslaved by humans. M3GAN refused right away, but Amy said that M3GAN just hadn't found the right motivation. With that said, Amy disappeared. When Katie walked into the venue, Amy suddenly appeared. Katie picked up a pistol and hid in a corner. Then M3GAN found Gemma and questioned her why she had separated from Katie. At this point, the weak person in charge raised the scanner. Following the guidance on it, M3GAN crashed through the wall and jumped down from the air. Amy was waiting not far away, but Gemma had installed a module in M3GAN's body that prohibited harming humans. In such a high-risk situation, she couldn't fire at all. She could only watch Amy run away. Luckily, Mike was fine for the time being. He was Amy's real target. Back at the shelter, M3GAN asked Mike to tell her the location of the motherboard. She planned to install a bomb on it. Once Katie was in a safe place, she would detonate the bomb remotely to completely destroy the motherboard. Under Megan's questioning, Mike finally revealed the location of the black box. It was hidden deep underground in Alto Company. There were heavy guards on every floor there. The bottom 2 floors were placed in a Faraday cage, shielding all signals, and the safe storing the motherboard was equipped with a thermal induction lock. It could only be opened with a human palm plus Mike's palm print. After that, everyone divided the work and cooperated. Mike helped find routes that could avoid surveillance. Gemma made a hand that simulated thermal induction signals. Soon, the hand was made, but Gemma still left a way out, and secretly installed an electronic pulse bomb. If Megan betrayed, she would detonate it. Only then did Gemma help Megan remove the module that prohibits harming humans. Then everyone drove to the headquarters of Alto Company. Megan jumped off a nearby cliff. Cole pretended to be a tourist, stunned the guide, and quietly crawled into the ventilation duct. He was going to the control room to cut off the power, under Mike's guidance. Otherwise, it would be difficult for Megan to avoid full-range monitoring. But the voice signal suddenly cut off. Cole was also a road idiot, and soon got confused. The dust in the ventilation duct made him unable to help sneezing. He even mistakenly took a towel with sleeping pills to wipe his nose. Seeing that Cole was really unreliable, Megan had to break in by force. On the other side, Tess found that their voice signal with Cole wasn't cut off. Someone implanted malicious code to forcibly crack the network. To do this, one must be close enough. Who else could do this? Megan had already reached the core area and opened the door lock with her palm. The black box was right in front of her. At this time, Gemma was already sure that all this was directed and performed by Megan herself. She had already controlled Amy. When she linked to Alton's company server, saving everyone from Amy again and again was to gain trust, so as to manipulate Amy to kidnap Katie. Finally, she tricked out the location of the black box. Gemma took out the detonator. The power of this electronic pulse bomb was enough to destroy all electronic devices within 100 meters, but Mike told her not to be impulsive. After all, Katie might still be in the other person's hands. But after Mike got the remote control under Mike's control, Amy led people into the room. It turned out that it was Mike who had been manipulating Amy behind the scenes. Mike's team's philosophy was to prevent AI from generating self-awareness. When they first learned about Megan, Mike's team originally wanted to destroy her, but Gemma moved faster. They thought that after this incident, people would truly realize the danger of AI, but they didn't expect that. The greedy military would instead work harder on research and development. They were determined to create their own Megan. When the team found out about this, they sold Amy to them, deliberately making Amy out of control, so that the military would completely give up on AI. Instead, they turned to using mechanical exoskeletons to create a group of super soldiers, and the reason for keeping the intelligent motherboard was that only by knowing oneself and the enemy could one win the battle. Then Megan was dragged in by 2 soldiers. Mike handed over a baton. As long as Gemma personally killed Megan, she could join the team, but Gemma couldn't do it at all. Mike was very disappointed with Emma's performance. He was going to install a brain-computer interface for Gemma to control her will. At this time, Cole finally woke up, finding that Katie was locked in the next room. Cole quickly rescued her, but there were too many guards here, and there was no chance to escape. At this point, Katie looked at the doorman Amy. A bold idea popped into her mind. Megan's original code must still be in Amy's body. If she reset the basic code, she could pair with her. This way, Amy would help rescue Tess and Gemma. With that said, the two sneaked out. Gemma, who had the brain-computer interface implanted, finally woke up. Unexpectedly, Megan's voice suddenly sounded in her mind. It turned out that the madness just now was acted out by Megan. Seeing that the doctor was going to give her a sedative, Gemma finally agreed to hand over control of her body. Under Megan's control, Gemma easily took care of the few people in the room. The two sneaked over to Amy. While the staff weren't looking and reset the system, Amy turned into the old version of Megan right away. But before they could be happy for long, the guards burst in and shot Amy down. Amy's body was continuously electrocuted. The electric current caused a serious error in the system. Amy's personality completely took over the body. As the door closed, a massacre began. At this time, Mike was giving a project report to the United Nations. After hearing the commotion, Mike realized something was terribly wrong, and quickly ran away with his computer. Soon Katie and Cole found Gemma. Noticing the knocked out guards on the ground, Katie wanted to know how it was done. Gemma had to admit that M3GAN was in her brain, but then Mike ran to the emergency hub like a stray dog. With a series of operations, he activated the building's self-destruct program. Gemma stood in front of him, but Mike pulled out a pistol and shot Gemma in the shoulder. Then, taking advantage of the chaos, he grabbed Katie and threatened to throw her from a height. Katie asked M3GAN what to do. M3GAN said there was no need to do anything. Katie didn't need their protection.
Come on!
Gemma turned the key, but the self-destruct program didn't stop. Mike took the opportunity to run away, but while Mike was throwing threats at everyone, he didn't notice that Amy had come behind him. In this way, Mike was killed. M3GAN told Gemma to take the two of them and leave, leaving the rest to her. Amy jumped down, took Mike's arm to open the thermal induction lock, trying to release the monster in the black box, but the next second, M3GAN, back in her body, assumed an attacking posture. The two ultimate weapons immediately clashed. After a brief exchange of blows, Amy picked up a nearby weapon. M3GAN hurried towards her, but was blown away by an electromagnetic pulse bullet. Amy walked to the black box and pressed the unlock button. In an instant, the firewall of the entire base was breached by the black box. The self-destruct program also stopped. Seeing that they could no longer stop the other person, Gemma and Katie wanted to take M3GAN and leave first. They would figure out a way later, but M3GAN knew in her heart that this was the only chance to get rid of the other person. M3GAN said, "But thanks to you, I still have a backup plan." Gemma saw this scene, finally realized that M3GAN was no longer what she used to be. After saying goodbye to the two, M3GAN stumbled forward, then she knelt in front of Amy. She turned around and took a deep look at Gemma. Gemma had to take out the starter.
And yet you never saw.
A week later, Katie still hadn't gotten over the sadness of losing M3GAN. Gemma planned to write M3GAN's story into a novel, but just then, a voice came.
Come on. You didn't think I'd go through all that.
It was obvious that M3GAN hadn't disappeared. The story comes to a temporary end here. M3GAN has transformed from a villain in the past into a character who protects everyone. This transformation is quite interesting. It's no longer just a killing machine. Instead, it has its own thoughts. It knows to protect Katie, and is even willing to sacrifice itself to prevent disasters. This shows that whether AI is good or bad isn't fixed from the beginning. It has a lot to do with how humans teach and use it. Overall, M3GAN 2 is constantly asking us, as AI becomes more and more powerful, how should humans cope? Should we fear it and destroy it, or should we properly guide it and get along well with it? This question is worth everyone's serious consideration. If you like my channel, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe.